All right, Shalom, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the Moors. Welcome to the free astrotheology course. I am Dr. Yasapa. For those of you who don't know me, our textbook is The Celestial Ship of the North. So this is a 2-volume work. The author is Emma Valencia Strayton. This is volume 1. So we're going to pick it up on page 167. Let's pick it up where we left off last time. So the mapping out of the heavens, the measuring of time, and the revolution of the stars were conceived by the ancients for purposes of practical usage and man's guidance. They have human here, but human is a contracted form of Han Uman. Okay, so and there was no human at that time. There was no Han Uman. Is it clear? All right. So take a look at this. There was no religion involved in this. Okay? The mapping out of the heavens had nothing to do with any religion. Is it clear, scholars? So we're talking about the Sabian period. We're talking about before 4,500 BCE or thereabout, which is the beginning of the of Pharaoh Mini's reign, who's the first human pharaoh, who introduces the solar zodiac or the solar period with the solar religions. Okay, so prior to that, for the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, and even trillions of years that man has been on the planet, the mapping out of the heavens has been for measuring time. Let me repeat it again. The mapping out of the heavens, the measuring of time, and the revolution of the stars. So here is time cycles, so celestial time cycles and measuring times, okay? Epochs, all right? Were conceived by the ancients for purposes of practical usage. So that's what we're going to use it every day, all right? We're going to reckon reality by the stars, circle 7, clock of destiny, by the mind, the workshop of the mind, and natural law. Don't steal, don't injure anyone. Okay? And it says here human guidance. So, and to guide man. So, this would have to do with what? Well, we would imitate nature in our creations, our designs, and we would also use it for traveling, right? We would use the starry canopy, the heavens, to travel from one place to the other. All right. We would also use it in our philosophy. How do the animals behave? How do insects behave? So we would mirror that, mimic it. Okay, y'all. This is what the author is talking about. Their observations became facts. So we saw it, and now it's a fact. Their observations became facts and were recorded in their astronomical mythology. So we recorded the facts in a way uh, uh, that today is called mythology. Natural phenomena are recorded as mythology. This is very key, very, very key, because when you look in the Biblio-Heliotext, especially the New Testament, especially the New Testament, there are stories that make absolutely no sense or are very immoral. However, the astrological meaning of that story makes perfect sense, and it is not immoral. It's just a mythological story. Y'all hear me? They are ancestors, Sabian, Moors, Canaanites, Moabites, and you know, all of the Aboriginal people. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, men and women. They observed and connoted with great accuracy the motions of the sun. So this would be well, let me just continue. The motions of the sun, moon, and stars. So the stars, reckoning time by the stars, reckoning reality by the stars, which is what our ancient ancestors did. Eventually, it fell, or we started to fall, and we started to reckon time by the moon or the lunar period mixed with the stellar period. Okay, and then that fell even further to the solar period or the solar zodiac. All right, y'all. So this is what's written here. There were no external gods, not until the solar period. All right. The biblical Genesis, we are told of divine creations in the biblical Genesis. So he's talking about Genesis chapter 1. And that when they were accomplished, the Elohim, so this is Genesis chapter 1 dealing with the Elohim, saw that everything was created good. So what are there two key words there? One is created. The second is, well, three. The second is Elohim, and the third is good. Let's continue. Who were the Elohim? Mythological astronomy will tell us. Now, remember, we were talking about mythology in the paragraph that we started reading. Okay? The astronomical records were recorded as mythology. The natural phenomena, our ancestors' observations, were recorded as astronomical mythology. So here we are. Mythological astronomy will tell us. They were the watchers in heaven, the seven sons of the seven stars of the great mother Typhoon. The Elohim were the seven stars or the seven watchers, the watchers in heaven, the seven sons of the great mother Typhoon. They were also the seven great architects of the world, progenitors of man. And by their periodic revolutions, heaven and earth. So, what are these periodic revolutions? Circle seven, right? The Thigh of the Great Bear, today called the Big Dipper, in the constellation of Ursa Major, revolving revolutions, revolving around the North Celestial Pole, Circle 7. Everybody got it? And here's something interesting about Circle 7. Our ancestors conceived the universe as a circle, and of course, the circle is the force field. Everything that is, was, could be, is within that force field, and the force field stays at equilibrium, right? And the Most High is in the center uh, between the cherubim. There's a cherubim in each of the four quadrants. So when you break it into four quadrants, there's a cross, right? There's a cross. So the intersecting lines are 90 degrees. But y'all look at this. Y'all see that? If you put a vertical line here, now you have two triangles. And if you move those triangles together, you get the six-pointed star. You get the six-pointed star, which has been hijacked by Judaism, and now they call it the Star of David. All right, but that is ancient, way, way, way before there ever was Judaism. What else about that? Well, you also get, remember, our ancestors conceived the universe as a circle. They drew a boundary that around that which is boundless, and it's a circle. All right. So the circle from the north to the south celestial. Well, let's just stay at the North Pole. It's divided into four quadrants, right? So that means there's a vertical line extending from the circumference of the circle at the top to the circumference of the circle at the opposite end of the circle. Okay, so what is that? That line would be called the diameter, right? So we can draw the diameter in any direction at any angle that we want within the circle. All right. So now the horizontal line would be extends from one end of the circumference to the other end of the circumference. So now we have two lines, a vertical line, which is showing diameter, right? And then the horizontal line showing diameter. So this is the cross, right? Y'all know the circle. Let me show y'all the circle and the cross that we see in religion. Let me show y'all. Hold on. So let me pull this up. So here's a circle and the cross. All right, that's circle 7 with the 4 quadrants where the horizontal and vertical line intersect. That's the throne of God or the north celestial pole. And the cherubim, of course, there's one in each quadrant. All right, y'all. So let me see if I remember the quadrants. So there's a hippopotamus, which is one of the earliest representations of the Great Mother. So it's the great water fish. There's a crocodile. There's one of the quadrants has uh, a phoenix, which later becomes the lion, which later becomes the lion of the tribe of Judah and the solar zodiac. And then in the other quadrant, there is a ape. All right, an ape. And because there is an ape, it appears to me that this is why the ape is used in the genetic engineering um, project to create the Han Uman. Okay, because of the ape in one of those 4 quadrants. So it appears that Yaqub uh, was that there was some astrology in there. That's why he chose to use an ape, a chimpanzee. Okay, and that's also why. Let me show y'all this. Oh, where's that image? Y'all know the image. What's the name of the book? Uh, well, I haven't shown the image in so long. Let me see if I can find the image so you can really have some context about what's happening here. Yeah, I wish I could search my phone, like give my pictures names to make it easier to search. Hold on. So I'll find it out. Give me 1 second. So this is a solar image of the solar zodiac. Uh, I've shown this image. Here we are. Here we are. Let me brighten it up. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. Take a look at this image, y'all. Oh, so do y'all see that cloud? That cloud has the tetragrammaton in it. Can y'all see it? So this cloud is supposed to be consciousness. And you see that there are zones. And then this woman is Virgo. Well, wait a minute, wait a minute. The woman is the Holy Spirit. I forgot. The woman is the Holy Spirit. Now, y'all see the hand coming out of the cloud, right? This is supposed to be the Tetragrammaton deity, who is a solar deity, having the Holy Spirit chained to him. Okay. Now, look at her breast. Do y'all see that there's something coming out of her breast? Okay, so this is mimicking the great mother, Typhoon, the great mother of nature, and she's supposed to be nourishing the world. That's what that's supposed to be saying. Okay? How many stars are there? I'm curious. How many stars does she have around her head? I'm curious. Can anyone see that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's kind of hard for me to count them. Hold on. The angle that I'm using. Well, anyway, y'all can count the stars. It's probably 12 or 13. Now look at her other hand. Now look at her vagina. What do y'all see in her vagina? Do y'all see a crescent moon? See the great mother, the mother of us all? That crescent moon traces back to the celestial ship of the north, those 7 stars. Or in other words, the thigh of the great bear, today called the Big Dipper. All right. Now look at her hand. Now she herself has a chain. Look what it's chained to. Now this is supposed to be the original man, an ape-like creature, right? The original or aboriginal man, Canaanite, Moabite, etc. And by the way, Israelite is only a family of the aboriginal men and women. Okay. So now, my point is that they use this image of an ape, in my opinion, because the ape is represented in one of those 4 quadrants of the conception of the universe that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Do y'all see it? Everybody see that? And take a look. Take a look. The Moor is bound by what looks like a ball and a chain. He's bound by religion. Y'all hear it? Y'all see it? Y'all see that ball and chain? Let me try to make it bigger. Oh, wow. I just noticed something. That looks like a bear. Damn, that is a bear. Do y'all see the bear inside of that circle? Do y'all see the bear? I never noticed that before. Wow. Here, this is a bear. See where my finger is pointing? That's a bear, the great bear. I never noticed that. Is this? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But are these dogs? Y'all tell me, are those dogs where my finger is? Let me see if I can brighten this picture up. Hold on. Maybe I'm tripping. Are those two dogs, y'all? Right there? Wait, wait, right here. Are these two dogs? Is that Soot the dog star? Right? They're two dog stars. This right here is definitely a bear. Uh-oh, hold on. This is tripping me out. I never noticed that before. That's definitely a bear right here. Y'all see his nose, his eye, his nose, and the mouth? These look like, are they fish or cows? What's that over here, y'all? Maybe that's a cow right here. Wait, let me see where's my finger. Hold on. The quality of the image, I don't remember where I got. Yeah, these are cows. Or is it? Do those look like a cow or fish to y'all? I think a cow. If it's a cow, it's Hathor, the great mother typhoon. Right here. That might be a cow. So if that is a bear, it damn sure looks like a bear. That would be the thigh of the great bear, right, representing Ursa Major. Okay, y'all see it? If those are two dogs, right underneath the Aboriginal that they have looking like a primate, that would be, y'all see? Are those two dogs? Sit the dog star in the south. They're two dog stars. And then if this looks like a difficult to. I wish I knew how to do screen share with the functionality is not there with I think these are two cows. Right there. I think that's a cow. The cow would be Hathor, also the great mother typhoon. Y'all see it? And then this would be according to the solarized, the evolution, the Aboriginal man who's more monkey-like. Okay, y'all? Monkey-like, primate-like, ape-like. See his long torso and his short legs? This is the proportions of a primate. Monkeys will have a long torso and short legs. All right? But you also notice that there are a lot of, you can actually, that's one of the indications of a hybrid. They'll have, well, let me just leave it at that. So I hope this is helpful. Let me show the image again. So here we are. Maybe y'all can see it better now. That cloud would be consciousness. And then that hand in the cloud, again, that's the tetragrammaton. All right. So this is of course the solar zodiac, right? Because you see that tetragrammaton, you see patriarchy. So you can easily date it. And you see the chains, right? You see the Holy Spirit chained. Got that original man chained in bondage, and he has that ball in his hand. What is that ball? Is that a ball in a chain? I can't make that out. What do y'all see? But I definitely see the bear in that image, in that circle that he's standing on. Yeah, those are two dogs, y'all. Look at that. Those are two dogs right there. Those are two dogs. And that's definitely a cow, or maybe even two cows. And this is definitely a bear, in my opinion. I don't know what that is here because, this is probably representing how many? Well, let me let this go because we're going off on a different direction. So let me find what I was looking for. Let me go back to what we were talking about. This stuff is so interesting. It's easy to lose focus. So let me go back to Circle 7, the four quadrants. I want to show you all some things about the uh, the images. Hold on. All right. So here we are with our image again, right? This is the revolution of the seven stars, right? The thigh of the great bear. The vertical line and the horizontal line are measuring the diameter of the circle. Of course, the circle is the circumference of the universe. All right. So this image was remixed into a Christian cross. Now let's look at another image. Now, if we shift this, now we see the Canaanite Phoenician, or Phoenician Canaanite, however you want to say it, Ta cross, and the Greeks call it Tau. We say Ta in the ancient Ibaryath. So you see the X is the X that's on the Confederate flag. Let me show you. So y'all see the solarite arrows with their hands like this. Okay, y'all, y'all know what I'm talking about. You see them like this. Okay, that's the Ta cross. So this is representing the zodiacal age of Taurus the bull, or Apis, the zodiacal age of Leo the lion, the zodiacal age of Scorpio, and represented as an eagle, and the zodiacal age of Aquarius. All right, so those zodiacal ages. Why is it significant? Because the solar rights come to power during the zodiacal age of Taurus. Before Taurus, it was Gemini, and then the solar deity would have been Buddha. Yeah, I think I remember that correctly, right? So that's where they're starting. That's where they're starting. Okay, they're starting with the zodiacal age of Taurus, and then of course Moses comes out of the mountain, and that whole scenario is showing the transition or the end of the zodiacal age of Taurus and the beginning of the zodiacal age of Aries. So Moses comes out of the mountain, sees the children of Israel making a golden calf. Right? We covered this, the significance of all of this. He finds them making a golden calf. Now we are taught well, let me not go into it. Y'all go back and watch the other videos because I want to move forward. I want to finish this chapter. But I have the story and all of these details in the other sessions. probably within the last 10 or 15 sessions. All right. Uh, Moses comes out. Some translations will say his face shone. His face shone. It was so brilliant and glorious, indicating solar zodiac. Okay. It'll also say that some translations will render the ancient Ibaryath word for shone or glorious, shine brightly, and all that. They render it as horns. So this is why you see the iconography of Moses. He has horns. These are ram's horns. Okay, and this correlates to Sut, the dog star, the hour hand of the clock of destiny, being remixed into Sabic Ra. Ra meaning area of the circle, all that space inside of the circle, and then the radius. The radius is half the diameter. Okay, so let me show you. So the circle is the circumference of the universe. The dot in the center is the celestial North Pole. And then that dotted line is the radius. Everyone see that? We went over these concepts over the last 3, 4, 5 videos. So now raw radius and area, raw radius and area becomes right ascension meridian at the east gate, which is Aries, which is Aries, which is the beginning of the year for the Solarites. Spring, which is the covenant of labor, because they stole everyone's nationality. They stole the birthright. Y'all understand? So now they're setting you off in the covenant of labor. All right, y'all? Okay. So at the opposite end of the covenant of labor, at the opposite end of Aries would have to be what? The opposite of the concept of the covenant of labor, which would be the covenant of grace by the law of polarity. All of these things coming from the circle. So in order for everything to stay inside of the circle, stay within the circumference of the circumference of the circle being a force field, there has to be equal and opposite pressures going in, or forces going in every direction. So no matter where this dot may move, there's an equal and opposite force placed upon it to keep it, or keep everything in the universe, everything within that circle, within the area of the circle, to keep it in its place. Nothing flies outside of the. Y'all see it? So radius and area becomes right ascension. In this case, is east gate. Now, in terms of deity, radius and area RA become Ra, the solar class of deities. Okay? Ra, Amun Ra, Amun Ra, Savic Ra, Apollo, Mithra, JC, the Tetracran. All of these are solar deities. They're all Ra. The Ra classifications of deities, the sun gods. Everyone see that? Everyone see that? So this is the abusive use of our sciences that never were intended to be used as religion. as the author says here, the mapping out of the heavens, the measuring of time, and the revolution of the stars, Circle 7 and the Clock of Destiny, were conceived by our Sabian ancestors for purposes of practical uses and guidance. And then the Solarites came in and did everything that I just discussed with you. Now, let's take a look at this. So they're just basically culture vultures, right? Now, here's the Tau. Here's the Greek Tau cross, which is their version of the Tau cross, which was that X that we looked at. So what is this? This again is the universe, the force field, the circumference, holding everything in, the line of the diameter, and then a line that the horizontal line is the diameter of the circle. And then the vertical line is the radius. And this is the representation of deity. It's a representation of deity. Okay, now of course, uh, we didn't talk about pi. Pi describes the circle, right? But that's we've already gone through that in the other video. What I want to do is show you the symbology and the origin of where they get the representations of God and their religion. They just did right. They swiped it. That's so. Why would they do it? Because it's more easy to get the people to accept it. It's also they don't have to create anything new. All they need to do is do what? Use the law of polarity and create the opposite. Everything wonderful and good becomes live, wonderful, good, what people refer to as godly, honorable, wisdom, the ancient darkness, right, becomes evil. So LIVE, live, in the solar system by by the law of polarity, the abusive use of the law of polarity, live becomes evil, EVIL, the anagram of live. And they do this principle of reversing everything by the law of polarity in everything. So it's the master key. Anything they say is evil is not evil in the Sabian period. Okay? Look at me. I'm brown. My complexion is brown. So therefore, they would say, I'm what? I'm evil. I have no possibility to go to the Christian heaven because my ancestors come from a time prior to or anterior to before the solar zodiac system came into power. All right, y'all? So therefore, in their eyes, in the Solarites' eyes, I'm less than an animal. Y'all know the Christians used to say that niggas can't go to heaven. All right, so I went through that. I'm not gonna go through it again because it's not on the topic that I want to go through, y'all. But you'll find that in this book, The Celestial Ship of the North, Volume 1 by Emma Valencia. Straight time. Okay, so the autochthonous men and women, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, you can't go to heaven. And you don't have a soul. Well, I already know I don't have a soul, and I already know you don't have a soul either. They made that up. Soul is soul, S-O-L, in Latin, meaning S-U-N, sun. So they threw O in there to get S-O-U-L, and then they monetized it and told you that the soul lives on beyond the body. Beyond the expiration of the body, you go to heaven and hell. And then they use that as a way to put you in great fear to control you, to extract your birthright and whatever else you might have. Gold, silver, your birthright, gold, silver, land, whatever it is you got by birthright, they're going to take it from you. Whatever you earn through commerce, they're going to take it from you. How? By threatening, bullying heaven and hell. Okay, and purgatory. All right. But anyway, so I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish by showing y'all those symbols, those Christian symbols of the cross, and what their origins are. So now we were talking about who were the Elohim. Mythological astronomy tells us. So let's pick it back up, page 167. All right. So the Elohim, they were also the 7 great architects of the world, progenitors of man. Now, isn't that interesting? Progenitors of man. Yo, who are the progenitors of man? Which man are they talking about? Let's look at the definition of progenitor. I'll see the definition of progenitor. What does it say? A direct ancestor, synonym, ancestor. 2, an originator of a line of descent, a precursor. Now, I think that descent is very interesting. It's the opposite of ascent, right? An original, a founder. The progenitor of man. Well, we already know the Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man and woman, we know where we come from. We come from Mitzar, the second star in the handle of the Big Dipper, or the thigh of the Great Bear, the second star. We are thought made manifest from the soil. The thought coming out of Mitzar, entering into the 4 stars that make up the Big Dipper, which is the celestial womb, exiting out that womb or out that celestial door, coming to the earth plane, interacting with soil, and then that thought is clothed in flesh, and then here I is, bang, an aboriginal man, Canaanite, Moabite, etc., Israelite, etc., etc., etc. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man and man with the womb man. There I is. That's my story. That's our story. You'll find that in this book. However, the Elohim create by genetic engineering technique and research a hybrid. We see this more in Genesis chapter 1. It's clear. So us, who are us, these supreme beings as uh, as EMA tells us, in the Clock of Destiny on page 36 of is volume 2. Oh, page 38. Page 38. The sons of a widow woman, of course, that's the great mother, are the only supreme beings, that's Elohim, of whom can stand in the form of a cross, 5-pointed star, and in a straight line, whether standing erect or lying down. Now, let's go to the next, let's drop down one. The 6-pointed star of the Moorish nation, referred to as the quote unquote Jewish Star of David. The first triangle represents the north gate, the summer season. The second triangle represents the south gate. In the winter season, these two triangles together form a 6-pointed star. Summer and winter, or north and south, all there is, as above, so below, or the two tablets of the stone. Y'all got that? Everyone understand that? So those two triangles, see the X, the top cross, the Canaanite, or the Phoenician Canaanite top cross. You see the pharaohs, our ancestors. Those are the two triangles. You move one down, you move one up, or you keep one there and move one up. You get the 6-pointed star. Let me show y'all. So what is it telling us? We are the Elohim. Okay, so all you gotta do is put 2 and 2 together. If you understand the literal meaning of what's happening in Genesis chapter 1, you immediately know that the Elohim are us. Okay, and this is what our brother C.M. Bay is telling us in the Clock of Destiny. Let me pull it up about the creation of the hybrid. Uh, so the hybrid would be, one second. I'm a little bit distracted, y'all. Um, um, there was a couple in here, and they look old enough to be my parents, and I was trying not to disturb them. They're on a date, but they just left. Emma, you want to say hi to my audience? Can you say hi to my audience? Yeah, say hello.
Hello.
Thank you. uh, Hold on, y'all. Let me. Where is it? Hold on. Ah, here we are. Let me give y'all the page range. Give me 1 second. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit longer than usual to find these. 1 second. She's nice. She's a very polite young woman. 1 second. Excuse me. I'm looking for a specific line. 1 second. I'm looking for a specific line. Where is it? I hate when this happens. That's why I really need to do this every day, at worst, every other day. Give me 1 second. One second. I should have went through this instead of the. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a page range because I don't see what I want to show you. It's not coming to my memory. So let me go back to. So y'all go to volume 1, and you can start reading from. Ow. No. Start reading from page 12. Okay. Start reading from page 12, and you'll. He's talking about the blonde women of Patagonia, South America. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. So start reading from page 12. I think I'm gonna have to go back and read this again. I like to have things fresh in my mind, so I know exactly where the page number is. All right, so let's continue. So start reading from page 12. All right. Uh, you see, now I'm letting my curiosity get the best of me. All right, let me let this go. So start reading from there, page 12, Clock of Destiny, volume 1. So where was I, y'all? Uh, oh, right. So the let's go back to page 167 in the Celestial Ship of the North, Volume 1 in our textbook. So the author's talking about these 7 great architects of the world being the progenitors of man. This is Genesis chapter 1. Okay, let me read that really quickly. So Genesis chapter 2, the deity has a name, YHWH, or a lot of people will say appellation or title, YHWH, which is really, y'all, what is it? Tetragrammaton? Tetra meaning 4, gramma meaning grammar or letters. Tetra, the 4 letters. Gramma, see, 4 letters, the 4 letters. Atan. Atan is the Egyptian deity. Okay, y'all? So let's look at Genesis chapter 1. Is the first? Let's just go to chapter 1. I believe it's verse 26 and 27. All right. Verse 26 says, Then God says, so remember, there's no such word as God. God is a fairly recent term. I think somewhere around 1100 AD. All right. So just a couple hundred years old, maybe less than 1,000 years old. Less than, well, this is 2000. So about 900 years old, somewhere around there. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 says, Then God said, then the Elohim said, let us make mankind, a kind of man, in our image. Well, this was Yaqub and his 12 feminine scientists. So now we have a male, well, a masculine energy, and 12 feminine women co-geneticists, co-scientists. I really wanted to find that not scripture. I really wanted to find that for y'all in the Clock of Destiny, where CM Bay says that. But anyway, then the Elohim said, let us make mankind in our image. So the masculine, the man has a penis, the woman has a vagina, a uterus, and ovaries, in terms of genitalia. Let us make man in our image, in our likeness. In our likeness. So this is why when you understand how to read the ancient Ibaryath here, actually how to translate and how to render from this biblical Hebrew into the ancient Ibaryath, you will very quickly see that this created creature was an hermaphrodite, both sexual organs present. Both sexual organs present. Now, how does Judaism explain that? How are they explaining it? Or what were they trying to achieve? Well, they had a misunderstanding of the Hermetic law of gender. See, one end of the line is feminine, the opposite end is masculine. So they said, hey, wouldn't it be great to have both of these in one created creature? So it's an hermaphrodite. Okay? Or they screwed it up. That's why they said everything was created good. Well, good is grade C. Good is not a letter A grade. Let me show y'all. So God here, this is 126. is Elohim. What is that? Elohim. Emoy, can you close it? The music, can you close it? Can you close it? Yeah, the music. Thank you. I understand. Right, see that? Now,